Working on a 2009 Audi A5 3.2. And the issue is a whining noise. When I first start the car up, it's like a vroom. Then it calms down and goes away a little bit, but you can hear it as you rev the car. You hear that whining as you rev. And I wish I would have replicated this before I took this alternator belt off, but it's cool. So what I did was I took like a screwdriver, something, this is a pry bar. But when you got noises from the engine, you're hearing from all over the place. You think they're coming from the back, from the this is the power steering pump down here. I was just checking everywhere, so I would take like I would take this crowbar, or should I say pry bar, or what I used was a Phillips head screwdriver. It don't matter, flat head, Phillips head is all the same. But I would stick it somewhere, like for instance, if I needed something long, I would stick it down on here, and I would put my ear to the top of this pry bar right here. I would just lay my ear on it, and this is how I would find what is whining. So I didn't get it from the power steering. I didn't get it from up here. I checked all back here. Went to the other side. Checked all back here. So what I did was I jacked the car up. And I went underneath of the. Let me go down here. I'll show you guys what I did. So I went underneath the car. You see, I took the belt off already. And I put my screwdriver like right here as the car was running. Put my tip of my screwdriver here, and I just took my ear and I put my ear on the other end of the screwdriver. And when I tell you this thing was whining so loud, it was like super loud. And so basically, to remove it is 4 bolts, and it's hard to see these other bolts that's in the back, but let me see if I get, you can see, so it's autofocus right away. As you can see, so I can go back here and find this bolt. There's a bolt, there's one here, and there's one over here, which I already took out back here. And then you got the one here and the one there. And once you take those 4 bolts out, this alternator drop right there. And I had to remove this. This a 10 millimeter right here. So once you get those out of your way, and like I say, those bolts are those 4 bolts are a 13 millimeter. And you're gonna have to use different extensions for different, some for to get the bolts out, because they're in like kind of tight spaces, but it's not too hard. And also too on this, as you can see, I got let me take this off. This is the serpentine belt tool. You can get this you can rent it from Advance Auto, and then once you bring it back, you get your money back. So you can Advance Auto, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, all of that. I just purchased one. I bought mine from Harbor Freight, $17. Figured I would need it again, which I have. This is my 3rd time using it. But and down here, it comes with different sockets and different type of wrenches as well, for different types of pulleys, So I have down here, hard to see, but I don't really want to take it back off. But it's an 18mm socket over top of that pulley. And basically, you just put this over top of that pulley. And for the Audi, you're gonna wanna go this way. And as you go that way, the pulley drops down, the belt gets looser, and I just held it to the right, and then I took my pry bar, went down here. As you can see, my belt is off. I slipped it behind the backside of the pulley of the alternator, and I just slipped the belt off. So I didn't have to lose track of how this belt actually ran around all those pulleys, because it's a pretty long belt, and it's a pretty, the route is, it's not a simple route the way it looks under there, but I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty sure I can put it back on, but just want to make my job easier. So what I'm gonna do is drop this alternator and put a new one in, and hopefully you guys can, if you're having the same issue, like I say, mine is the alternator. Some people might have a power steering pump. I know the 2.0 T, you'll get that whining noise from the turbo too. So, but for the most part, if it's when you first start it up, and it, like, even if it's running for a while and you turn it off and you start it back up, when it revs, it gives that vroom, that noise like a remote control car, something like a like a drill or something. It gives that noise. More than likely, it's probably your alternator. And you can check too on your as far as your power steering pump. You turn the wheel left and right, and if you get when it get all the way to one end, it gets a real, where it can't go anymore. If it's whining bad, then that could be your alternator. I mean, not your alternator, but your power steering pump. But for the most part, you're gonna hear a little whine when you turn it left and right, because you're making it tighter on that alternator over there too. So you gotta, just go between the two. And like I say, the V6, this model doesn't have the turbo. This has this is the V6. So my issue is the alternator. And so, like I said, just check your alternator, put the screwdriver or something on it, put your ear to it, and you will definitely figure out what it is. So, we got to show you guys this part right here. Like, if you can see. But anyway, I had this black cap. This goes over this nut. You can see how it's got a nut shape inside. But it goes over this nut right. It's hard for me to show you guys. Let me see if I can get in here. But anyway, hold on. If you can see that right there. So basically, that's what you're going to take that black cap off, and that's a ground wire, or I think the wire for the alternator. And then you got a plug right above that. You can squeeze and push that out. My little piece has broken off, so that was from me doing that, but you're gonna squeeze that. It's kind of tight in here. Just squeeze it to get this off. So I can get this. Man, it's tight doing it with one hand, but you can get that plug off right there. And once you get that off, like I said, you get your bolts off, your alternator will drop down, and you are good to go. And you do everything in reverse mode. All right. I didn't want to cheat you guys and not show you that it was actually a little bit more than I expected. So I had to remove this bar, which sits across right here. It sits in here, and it sits in that little, this sits inside here. And then this piece goes underneath of here. You'll see it in yours. But I had to take that bar loose, and I had to take the transmission lines loose in order to get the alternator to drop down because it was no clearance. Like it was too tight. I mean, some of it would come through, but not all of it. So, just to let you guys know, you will have to remove the transmission lines and this bar. Don't actually know what this bar does, but it's there for a reason. Might be something to stabilize something, but for the most part, this is what you're gonna have to do to get this alternator to drop. And it's not really bad. It's not like it's super hard. It's just a few extra steps. For the most part, the alternator is pretty easy to get out because it's not really in a bad spot like most cars got them, where you got to remove a whole bunch of stuff. But pretty much simple. All right. So I got it out, and this is the Audi alternator. And here's an alternator I had from this Saab that I did. This alternator on this Saab had just went bad. It wasn't putting any volts out anymore, so this just went bad. But I'm just gonna show you the difference of the sound though, of the one that is actually whining and one that actually, this one, like I say, I believe the voltage regulator just went bad on this one, but this one is actually whining from the Audi. So this is the Audi one, and this is the Saab one. So here's the difference. You can hear them, see. Shouldn't sound like that. Shouldn't have that. And this one. See, should be smooth, just like that. This one. See, this one was bad. So that's how you can tell too. And you know, was getting that whining when it start up. You know, that engine running at high RPMs versus my hand. So you can imagine with the belt on it spinning, is much louder than this. So this is actually my issue. So I'm gonna get the new one and put it in, and I'll update in the description if this solved my problem or not. But I'm 99% sure this is the noise that I'm hearing that's causing my issue and causing that whining. All right.